Hello and welcome to a new episode of Aslan Live. In today's episode, we're gonna talk about the goalkeeper situation, this who should leave, who should stay. Because as you know, it's only 10 days until we start the season against Gaziantep away. So we are very close to the season starts, and the last match, the last preseason game is against Lazio before the season starts. So it's not we are not far away from the season actually, and this is the squad. I have just made up something here, and it's not what I think should be the 11. So but this is what we are linked to right now, and I want to explain because we need, of course, 4 Turks and 4 home ground players. Here it is only 3 home ground players, but I think we can figure this out in some way because we got Metehan, Jankat, and Yunus Akgün. I'm not sure who the fourth is going to be, and maybe Jankat is going to be loaned out, and Batuhan Shen can take that goalkeeper position. And we got 4 Turkish players. We got Arda Unyay, we got Abdulkerim, we got Barış Alper, and we got Eren Elmalı. And the strange thing here is that I don't think many saw that Arda Unyay could be an option in the fourth Turkish player because we were linked to, for example, Ahmet Can Kaplan, and I'm so glad that it worked. That it seems like it working out with Arda Unyay, because I watched a bit of Ahmed Can Kaplan and he had a serious injury. I don't think that he would be good enough. I'm not, everything can change when you are in the correct environment, and he's playing on his strengths. But overall, I don't think that he was a Galatasaray player, to be honest. Maybe it's going to be in the future, but he had a serious injury. He struggled a lot. But anyway, right now we have 4 Turks players, so that's really nice for the Champions League squad, because you need to fill those 8 places to be able to put on 17 foreigners. And as I said before, Gurbetçi, the Turkish players who has not had their youth careers in Turkey, are also a foreigner in the Champions League squad. So what do we see here? I put like the F 2002, it's for the foreigner 2002 rule in the Super League. And here I put a question mark on Yusuf Demir, because everything also depends on the economy. Who is gonna stay? Who are we able to sell? It's not gonna be easy. And again, as I'm saying, this is not like my ideal 11. Probably Icardi is gonna take Gabriel Sara's place. It's gonna be something different there. But this is just what I put on. And I'm not sure because I think Yusuf Demir, for example, should be loaned out, because he's really struggling with his decision making, for example. Also on the because we need also good youngsters like 2002 or younger. But I think like if we are finding a midfielder who is really good 2002 or younger, probably we're gonna sign that instead of on the center back where I wrote it. So I think what we are able to find, because right now we need a goalkeeper, we need a right back, center back ish type that Okan Buruk wanted, and the others, because we have so strong squad, I think we can go to the, I hate that word, Firsat transfer, but then you can probably get some really good signings because it doesn't burn in those other positions. But we need to wait and see who is gonna stay, who is not gonna stay. I didn't write, for example, Berkan Kutlu here, and I think he played okay in the friendlies. But again, you saw it in the last friendly that Berkan, I don't know, it seems like I really wish that he could be a good rotation player for us, Berkan Kutlu. But it seems like his mentality is so fragile. For example, in the Strasbourg game, when when the spectator or the fans is like, oh, when he does something, when he does some mistakes, you see that he couldn't even run. He just walked there and was so sad. In some ways, I think like Berkan is realizing that maybe I'm not good enough. That type of syndrome, I think, and I don't think he didn't want to run, for example, in the Strasbourg game when he lost the ball. But it's some mentality there that's a bit blocked. Not like it's crazy, but it's blocked. And I don't think that I can't trust Berkan as a rotation player. And I'm gonna come to this point too, because Berkan, he should be like a physical player. He should run much. He should fight, he should win those 50-50 duels. But unfortunately, he is the one who's trying to play those behind the defense line. He's trying to play that 1-2. Why is Berkan in the corner on the side, for example, when he's playing central midfielder? Why isn't Torreira and let me see, hello Blert, agree that Berkan should grow mentally, but he's a good backup player. He started to read the game quite good now. Yeah, I like Berkan also. I'm not trying to like say he's really bad, but unfortunately he has this block, I think, mentality that, and he needs to play on his strengths, because you don't see Torreira or Lemina is in the positions he is. Suddenly he is on the side, with 3 players around him. If he had just relaxed a bit more and then saved his energy on the defensive to win the ball back fast, to run more. I'm not sure how to say it, but I think he's using his strengths a bit strange, because he got the okay foot, but yeah, I'm not sure what's happening with Berkan Kutlu, but and he's a player who's versatile, he can play left back, he can play center back. How good he is against weaker teams, he can play there. So maybe, I wrote Gurbeci on Gabriel Sara's place, and that in my mind is like Ilkay Gundogan type, who can play central midfielder and attacking midfielder. But you can also have, for example, Berkan there, and we also have another player I'm really unsure about is Kaan Ayhan. I love Kaan Ayhan. He's a good player. He has a fantastic feet. But he's not the Kaan Ayhan, for example, against Manchester United away. He's just becoming slower and slower, and I'm still waiting for that, if it's the knee or what it was that was injured. He's just becoming slower and slower, and to a point there, he can play in a 3-back system, for example, where he can be one of the 3 center backs, and he can also play like in one of the 3 as a defensive midfielder, for example, because he need players that can cover up for him, because he becomes so slow right now, Kaan Ayhan, that is struggling with our playing style, who is so intensive. So my point is that at the central midfielder, and it depends on how we're gonna play, But that's why I think we also should go for a center midfielder, to be honest, because I'm not sure how much you can. Let's say if Lemina is getting injured. Of course, you can probably put Kaan there. You can also put Gabriel Sara there if you have like a beast right back, then you can who can play center back also. That is going in with Abdulkerim and Davinson. Look at, for example, Inter's midfielders. It was Barella, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, and Mkhitaryan. Yes, Barella is running a lot, but they are not physically strong. That's because they got extremely strong center backs that can cover up. So I'm not like saying that you can't play with Gabriel Sara or Torreira if you have really, really good center backs and a right back that's switching on to be a center back. So again, we also need a goalkeeper. We heard that Dursun Başkan said that we were going to get the goalkeeper in the first camp. It's 10 days until the season starts, and of course, I'm not shocked that we don't have a goalkeeper yet. And I think that's something we really need to have, because Gunay, I also love him. He's a good goalkeeper, but I don't think he is good enough to play every games, to be honest, and they need competition. Gunnar has done a fantastic job for us, but it's just something I just can't trust 100%. Maybe I'm a bit harsh here, but Gunnar is a very, very, very important player, as Kaan in the squad, of course. But I think we need to go for a goalkeeper, and we're going for it. It seems like that. And this is the two that we are linked to. I don't know how realistic Donnarumma is. It's a ballsy move by our team that just to see that we are written like Galatasaray and Chelsea is the closest clubs right now and things like that on Twitter. And to be honest, my opinion is that should we go for an Ederson type or should we go for a Donnarumma type? First of all, everything is not black and white. We need to look at the economy. What do we have money for? 75 million euros for Osimhen is not a cheap price. How much are we going to be left with? And of course, who are we able to sell? So for me, it's like, and this is something Koray Gök said. I recommend him on YouTube. He's a Galatasaray, like a reporter or journalist. He's on Eskarchuk, and he said like 25 million euros for Donnarumma is cheaper than 10 million euros for Ederson. And I agree with that. And Ederson would not have survived Manchester City if he not had been good as a, goalkeeper, a normal goalkeeper, not with his feet. But if I should choose, I would rather have more like a Donnarumma type, because we already have two really, really good center backs with the feet, Abdulkerim and Davinson. And I think against 90% of the teams in the Super League, we don't necessarily need a extremely good goalkeeper in his feet. Of course, against Fenerbahce, against Besiktas, against Trabzon away, for example, or in the Champions League, of course, because that's what we are thinking about right now. You need a goalkeeper who is good with his feet, because I said this before. Many teams are pressing like us right now, like the two strikers going to the two center backs. Then it's always the goalkeeper who is the man who got the advantage with the ball. You're always making 3 against 2 with your center backs and your goalkeeper against the 2 strikers. So to have a goalkeeper who is really good with his feet, of course, that's extremely important nowadays. I watched again because I wanted to watch Leroy Sané one more time, Inter against Bayern München in the Champions League. No, Bayern München against Inter. And Jan Sommer really surprised me with his feet, to be honest. I know that he's 37 years old, so of course I want one of those. But I just saw how important it is to be good with your feet. So Donnarumma is known to not have the best feet in the world, but he still survived PSG. So how bad can he be with his feet? He's slow, he's really big. And Okan Buruk said this on the TVB interview, that he didn't want a slow and tall goalkeeper because, we are standing really high with our defensive line. So to have a goalkeeper who can read that passes that go behind the defense, for example, Ederson type, who is quick, who can read that more, of course, that's important. That's really important. But I also want a goalkeeper who is extremely confident in the air, for example, when they are when it's crosses, when it's long passes, that you have a goalkeeper who can just take that ball and you know that the goalkeeper will take it. Because I watched Ederson, for example, if you search Manchester City against Al Hilal in the FIFA Club World Cup, you see that Ederson is not the best goalkeeper in the world in those situations. You can see it yourself. He had some really errors there, and in the end, goals changing matches, and goals changing matches. Hello, Baran. Yeah, Alisson would have been fantastic. I saw something about it on Twitter that we were linked with him now. I don't know, because Liverpool bought a new goalkeeper also. So Alisson would have been fantastic. I think he's a bit mix of those two. I don't know how realistic Alisson is, but if he's available, we should go. I think we should go so much for. We should go 100% for him. That's my opinion. Because Alisson, I think he is good in every area. His reflexes, he has played over 70 games for Brazil, while Ederson has played something around 20, 29, 30, 20 to 30 games. So you know that Alisson is a better goalkeeper, of course. I know it sounds so strange, like, I don't want Ederson. Of course, Ederson is a fantastic goalkeeper. And we shouldn't look at the save percentage either, because Manchester City, you probably should watch it, but Manchester City is a team that's opening their whole defense up also, because when you're playing in a team that's a low block, for example, you will get shots from outside 16. You don't get those clear chances like you will if you're a counter-attack team, like Manchester City is a possession team who always get counter-attacks behind them. So the save percentage is a bit hard to read. Let me see, Baran. I think Donnarumma would be too expensive. Ederson a bit too risky of a player. Alisson is the perfect mix. Yeah, I totally agree. Alisson would have been fantastic. He would have been... Yeah, Alisson is... I see that people are even debating if he's the best goalkeeper that has been in the Premier League. Alisson. So... yeah, of course. But is he available? I don't know. What is Liverpool gonna do with Alisson? Because he was a bit injured last season. Do they want to sell him, or what is happening there? Because I also saw some rumors that Alisson was linked to us. I'm not sure. We are linked to every goalkeeper in the world, so and go for one of, if it is a chance. And I know I would rather go for Donnarumma if it's 25 million euros and if we got the money, rather than a Cuesta type of signing. I can't trust them too much, to be honest, because suddenly we are not going for either of them and thinking. But again, I don't know how much money we have left after this. Are we able to sell anyone? That's the big question. So because here is what Okan Hoxha said in our goalkeeper list had tall, slow goalkeepers, but we didn't want them. So the first I thought about was Bulka. We were linked with Bulka. But again, I don't think anyone can say no to Donnarumma if it's available. And PSG, Chevalier, the Lille goalkeeper, they are so close to signing him. So it can be an option to, for example, buy Donnarumma. But I think Donnarumma would be like an Osimhen transfer. And I don't think the board or we can wait for that and to take that risk and suddenly you're not getting him. So we just have to wait and see with the goalkeeper, because I am not sure. Because here, Chevalier, I don't think that Donnarumma can wait a season, because I saw Fabrizio Romano said something about that also, that that Donnarumma wanted to wait until his contract was over, but it's a World Cup next season. How can he wait for so long? I think everything is a game, actually, also. As we saw yesterday, that Morata is going to stay. I don't think that's going to happen, because I think everything is a game. Like, Como need to pay us also. We can't just give Morata free. So then it's a better tactic to say, yeah, we're gonna use him. And I think the same is a bit about Donnarumma also. I don't think he's gonna stay for a season to be on the bench, for example. That would not make sense at all. And especially when it is a World Cup next season. So the chances can be there. But of course, Alisson would have been fantastic. But I don't know what they're thinking about right now. Because what's with Ederson again? Just imagine his foot playing behind the defense to Barış Alper, to Osimhen, to Leroy Sané, or just playing a 60-meter pass to Icardi on his chest, for example. Ederson is capable of that. He's more than good enough to do those things with his passes. But again, I think if Alisson is available, the mix of those two would have been incredible. So we just have to wait and see. But Alisson, Donnarumma, or Ederson, I think everybody can fit. And what's really good about Ederson, for example, or Alisson, is that we should not take that for granted. Our incredible fans, the connection they have to our players. For example, Osimhen, I don't know how many percentage it was because of the fans that they wanted to stay. And not only that, also the South American relations we have with Davinson Sanchez, with Mauri Icardi, with Torreira. Our leaders are South Americans. And I think that for Ederson to adapt there would be so easy. So that can be a huge win also. I don't know, but I would rather go for the mix. But that's Alisson, of course, or a goalkeeper who is a bit more safer, a bit more confident with his in the air reactions, saves, a goalkeeper who can win us games, because as I said, goals change matches. So to have a goalkeeper who's saving when it's 0-0 contra when it's you're down 1-0, for example, against Fenerbahce away. We remember Muslera's save there. If Fenerbahce had scored, I think it was with Osterwolde, the game could have been different, for example. Or if you are considering a goal from a corner, for example, where your goalkeeper can't go out because he's not so confident there. So, yeah, it's a luxury issue, I think. So, to be linked with Ederson also, I don't know. I don't know what City wants there either. So, and it seems like Okan Hoxha wants a goalkeeper who's a bit faster and like a libero type. Because here, Chavalier is soon here we go to PSG. So I don't know what Donnarumma is thinking. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. But we need a goalkeeper, as I said. It is still only 10 days until the season starts. And here we signed a new contract with Metehan until 2028, Kaan Ayhan until 2028, and Abdulkerim to 2027. And it's nice that we're signing new contracts. I'm just waiting for Davinson Sanchez and Yunus Akgün to sign their new contract also, because they are so important for us. They need to be happy also. So, first of all, Metehan Baltaçı, he's a home ground player. He is, as I said before, extremely important in the dressing room. I know that that's not everything, but he is. Okan Hoxha said that he's just so likable type. The foreigners, the Turkish players. For example, when Kaan scored against, I think it was against Umrania, if I'm not totally, or if it was against Admira, but one of the goals he scored, you see that Metehan just lifting him up. You see them, and you can't just be a good guy and play for Galatasaray. If Metehan develop a bit more, he can be a good home ground rotation player, because we need home grounds. We don't have any right now. We have two others, a goalkeeper and Yunus Akgün, who can play for the senior team. So, and it's also good that Abdulkerim has signed a new contract, and Kaan until 2028. As I said before, I'm not so sure about Kaan, to be honest. He is a great leader. He is a foreigner in the Champions League spot. So I think Kaan is extremely good with the ball. He's versatile, and but I'm not sure to 2028. I feel like he's going more and more back in the terms of especially with this quickness. I think he's struggling a lot in the pace. I remember against Bodrum away last year when he played center back, he struggled as a center back. I'm not trying to be too negative about him, because as long as, and that's what I'm talking about every player, as long as they are Galatasaray players, I will support them. But yeah, I'm not sure about Kaan Ayhan, because it's not that he's slow, he's extremely slow. So it's gonna be difficult to say. And I'm really curious about what type of right back, center back. I saw that we were linked with Maitland Niles now from Lyon. I don't think that's realistic. I don't think that's. It seemed a bit strange, because he's more like a wing back type. I think I've not watched him too much, but I'm not sure if he's the right profile, because if you're getting a center back who can also play right back, then it's so smart. It's the Pavard type. It's the also the Sasha Boy type, even though I haven't seen him so much as a center back. But for example, you have also Jakobs who can play. You saw it in the last game in the three back system. He can develop to be a great player there also. So I'm not really sure what we are going to do with the squad actually. I think it's more like, as I said, Firsa transfers. We are going to go for them uh, because we have capacity to do that because of our really strong squad. And I think here, for example, Osimhen is going to play more like no, Icardi is going to play more in the Gabriel Sara spot. Leroy Sané is going to play winger. I just can't wait to see how we're gonna play. And I saw that it was people that I saw it on Eskiacek, a YouTube channel, where like, who do you think is gonna play most or least? It was Baris Alper, Leroy Sané, Yunus, or Icardi. And it's a tough question because you got like 5 players who, or almost 6 players: Baris Alper, Leroy Sané, Yunus, Osimhen, Icardi, and Gabriel Sara, who can play in those 4 places. Um, and who are you going to bench? It's gonna be really, it's a luxury problem for sure, but it's not an. You also need a core 11. So who are you gonna play with? I think as long as Icardi is healthy, I think Okan Hoxha is going to play with him, and Osimhen. I think it's gonna be Baris and Leroy Sané. I'm not sure. I love Yunus also, and Yunus can also play as a 10. So who we are going to play with is gonna be a tough one for Okan Hoxha. But you want that problem instead of not having enough players. For example, like Besiktas now needs to sell. I'm hearing that they have some troubles right now, but I'm not sure. So and that should just, it makes sense, with their extremely high wages. Yes, we also have wages, but we have so much revenue. We are so much. We are in Champions League in 3 seasons. We have been there 2 times in the Europe League. The revenue, the jersey sell, the way we are selling jerseys, our sponsors. Galatasaray is a money-making club right now. So and we need to remember that football, it's never about yesterday. It's always about today. So things can change extremely fast. It's not. I'm not just talking about the economy. I'm also talking about the harmony in the group. Right now, we have a fantastic harmony in the group, and that's something I think is gonna really, really benefit for example, Leroy Sané, because he's a player who I think needs to be confident and happy. And if you're opening up Leroy Sané with the fans in the squad, I think he potentially can get out his potential, Leroy Sané, because I don't think he got it out in Bayern München. He played some fantastic games. He had, for example, this year, Leroy Sané had a really good stats for Bayern München. But I saw him, for example, against Inter. He saw a bit off, but if you can open up Leroy Sané to be like connection with the fans, connection with the players, it's gonna be really, really. I think we're gonna see a really strong Leroy Sané. And I just saw Leroy Sané as a left winger in Bayern München, the games I saw, because they got Olise, who is like a playmaker type. They got Musiala, who is a playmaker type. They got Harry Kane, who is a striker who also is a playmaker-ish type. So Leroy Sané went to be like a normal winger, if you know what I mean. and now he can take more responsibility in our club. As I said before, I think Leroy Sané is more like a combination player rather than a playmaker. He's more like 1-2 passes in the box, getting it back, crossing it, shooting. But we saw it in the game. It surprised me a bit because I watched like 3 games of Leroy Sané against Inter, against Esti Pauli, and against Italy. And I didn't see those types of passes, but that was more because it is other playmakers that taking the room. So Leroy Sané was more like a normal winger, as I said. And one thing about Leroy Sané also is that we're gonna see it often. Like he's just so patient in his movements. So Leroy Sané can just stay wide, for example, sometimes, and then he's suddenly so open. He's so smart in that sense, Leroy Sané. And if Leroy Sané got space, he's gonna be so dangerous because he's extremely quick. So if we can turn the play, for example, to play to him, um, it's gonna be fantastic, I think. So yeah, and also Gabriel Sara had an interview with Millet where he's saying winning the Champions League is harder than winning the Super League. We won't just play for the sake of playing. We will play to win the Champions League, the Super League, and the Turkish Cup. I hope to win more trophies this year. So he is he has ambitions because Gabriel Sara said this before also that he wants to play on the national team and to show himself. It's easier to show himself in the Champions League. So I think he's going to be really, really motivated. I see that it's a bit negativity around around Gabriel Sara. I think Gabriel Sara is a extremely valuable player. He is linked to Manchester City, Manchester United, Newcastle, those types of teams, and we need to remember that we have Osimhen, we have Barış Alper, we have Yunus Akgün, we have Davinson Sanchez, and we have Gabriel Sara, who I think has the most value in our team. Of course, the other players are really valuable, but those players are the players who you can sell for 30 million and plus potentially. And of course, Arda Unya can come there and yeah, in the future. But so we can't like say like Gabriel Sara is just he's not good enough. And I think Gabriel Sara really, I know that people says that he has not been the same after injury, and I agree in some sense, but also I think because of the positional change, he has not been able to, to be at his ultimate, to his absolute best, I think. Okay, forget that. There we go. I don't think he has been at his best, but I think that's also with some of the position he is playing, because the play as a 10 in Galatasaray is not easy. I said this before also. Our 10 types is more like a forward types and needs to be good, for example, in the small, tight spaces. Gabriel Sara is more like I would call him like a water player, like a fluid player. And his movements are just so incredible to look at. But I think as a 10, he's struggling, of course. And he said it himself that he are more comfortable in a 6 or an 8. And I think if you got that right back who is a monster, he can play as a central midfielder also. He can do it anyway, but I think it's going to be easier for him also if he has like a extremely well defenders behind him. And I think he's struggling a bit to adapt in his new role as a attacking midfielder-ish type, especially against teams that are not giving so much space away. For example, against Fenerbahce in the cup game, he was fantastic. There you see it's not something with his knees, but that's because he got the space. You saw it against Strasbourg also. He struggled there, but when he came alone with the goalkeeper, um, Gabriel Sara took that movement. He ran in the space there, and showing his smartness again. So I think like let me see here. I will see what Reddit wrote, because it's some questions here from my post. Neither of them will end up coming. We will probably end up with Berke or Pena. It's a typical that we are going to come with some really strange goalkeeper. Uh, I'm not gonna. That's of course an option, you know. So Mellit 2010 smasher pass Gabriel Sara. What terms do you mean? He looks fantastic also, and I love his personality. But as a player, as I just said, I think it's hard for him to play as a 10 in our team. He's not been used to it yet, and he's not that profile type. I think either he's trying to adapt, and Gabriel Sara is a really smart player. So he can with time be that 8/10 player. But again, it's as a player, of course. Yeah. What do you think, Melly? I'm curious about what you think. I think Gabriel Sara is a really good player, as I said. Um, he is really smart player. For example, his runs. You remember against Fenerbahce in the cup game when he took that movement against Amrabat, when he just faked that he run there and run the other way, or his goal at Kadıköy. His runs. He had one other chance also against Fenerbahce, where he was alone with the goalkeeper. I'm not sure if you remember. Not alone, but he got a really big chance, Gabriel Sara. His movements are so nice. It's just so incredible to look at, especially when he runs from the deep, for example. And as I said, Gabriel Sara is not a player who you should just say it's trash or garbage. As I said, it's him, Barış Alper, Davinson Sanchez, Osimhen, and Yunus Akgün, who has really high value at our team. He's linked with City and United, and I'm not sure how true that rumors is, but he's a really important player in that sense. So, and he said it also that after he got their children, no, when his girlfriend was pregnant, I think he struggled a bit to focus, and that's not a excuse because you're a professional, but they are humans also. So I'm not sure, he needs to, again, as a central midfielder, as a 6 or 8, I think he can be really, really good if he has extremely solid defenders behind him. I'm repeating myself a bit now, but I just wanted to answer you, Melly. But what do you think of Gabriel Sara? So let me see. I think he underperformed his first season, but we still saw some good glimpses of him. So clearly the talent and skill is there. Yeah, I totally agree. And with a bit, if he had been not lucky, but he could have scored 10 goals this season, Gabriel Sara, for sure. And I agree with you. It was some games that just thought like, what is happening here? But it was some games also that he was, for example, against Göztepe, the home game. Wow, he was extreme in that game. He was just so his flow, and then he of course got injured in the cup game, the game after that, I think. But against Fenerbahce away, the Young Boys game, just search up on Twitter when you have time. Gabriel Sara versus Young Boys. I think he was extremely good in those games also. So if he can just develop to be like a 8-10, but in his style, which is still struggling a bit with, I think he can be extremely important for us. So and I'm not sure if Okan Hoxha is going for another center midfielder, because as I also said earlier here, is that I'm not sure how much we can trust Berkan or Kaan. As I said earlier, I'm repeating myself, but Kaan is becoming so much slower for every game I'm seeing him, even though he's fantastic with the ball, even though he's a really important player in the squad. And Berkan Kutlu, you know his mindset. I don't know where that is. He should play on his strengths, but I think Berkan Kutlu is not doing that. He is playing more as the player he wished to be and not the player he should be. Berkan, you don't need to play those through the lines passes all the time. Yes, you got a foot that's your passes is really strong and it's really hard, but you don't need to do that every time. Torreira got a better feet, I think, but he doesn't do that so often. First of all, Torreira is not playing and, let's say, playing the Icardi and running straight up. He's playing it easy so he can save his energy to what he's best at, to win the ball. And Berkan Kutlu needs to learn that, I think. If it's too late, I don't know. I don't want to be too negative about Berkan Kutlu, because I think he has done very much good for us. He's been a good squad player. And to survive in Galatasaray in 4 years, for him, it's not bad at all. But he also need to accept, I know that Berkan Kutlu got that Mamba mindset, and that's good, but you also need to be, that's not so good if you need to accept your role either. I'm truly believer in that you can be better for every day. I'm not saying that, but he also need to be where he can, for example, accept that yes, he's gonna be a squad player, for example. So it's gonna be difficult to see. Let me see, Mel. I think a young and cheap number 10 is needed. Sara should compete for the 10 spot, and I will think he will become a clear first choice at number 10 over time because of his high work rate. Yeah, Gabriel Sara is he's working hard, and here is what I wrote in my squad planning. I wrote a Gurbetche here, for example, and I didn't take Berkan here, but it can be different, you know. Berkan can stay, or this is just my like perfect squad, because here you got 4 Turkish players, you got 17 foreigners with the Gurbetches, and you also, here's 3 home ground players. Sorry, 3 home ground players. We can probably find another home ground for sure if it's Efe Akman, if it's somebody else, so you can fill up the foreigner spot, because as I said before, foreigners, to fill up your foreigners, you need 4 home grounds and 4 Turkish players who's playing in the Turkish academy. So yeah, but you see that we are linked with number 10s that are young, you know. For example, Harvey Elliott, he's not cheap, probably not cheap. So I agree, but again, at the 10 spot, you know, you can use Yunus there, even though I don't think Yunus has played so great as a natural number 10. Because it's different to play as a 10 or as a winger that's going inside. Because when you're a winger and going inside, the player who will follow you is the fullback. But when you are in the Mertens place, it's always the center back. It's always a midfielder in front of you. So it's much more tighter there. And it's just a whole new world to play as a 10 rather than as a winger. And again, this is not my 11. I just wrote something here. So, and also, Icardi is probably going to play as the number 10 also. And I think Gabriel Sara is also going to play 8 and 6. You know, he's versatile in that sense. Let me see, Mel, it's 2010. As much as I love him, Apo should be benched. He's a ticking bomb. I think that Abdulkerim is struggling in his offensive markings. He's not the fastest. He's been weak in the friendlies, but so has Davinson Sanchez. They are players that are coming late in form. I think Abdulkerim's ended the season on a really high level. And you know, with Abdulkerim, it's not just to bench him either, because he got that extremely high, what can I say? In the dressing room, he's so important there, Abdulkerim, and he has been so important in 3 seasons when we won the league, and he just signed a new contract. So I agree with you. In a perfect world, you probably could, buy this and that, but I don't think that should be the case, actually. I think we should go for a right back, center back-ish type. And if you got Eren or Jakobs, they can help, Abdulkerim, Davinson Sanchez, and another right back, center back. So I personally think that Abdulkerim is really important for us, but of course, I know what you're saying, I know what you're meaning. And I also ripped my hair off when we played in the Champions League 2 seasons ago with Abdulkerim in some situations. So, but in overall, I think we should also respect Abdulkerim, because how many of the 3 seasons Okan Buruk won? Who has been the most important players? Icardi had 2 seasons. Torreira had 3 seasons. Abdulkerim had 3 seasons. It's not many, Barish had 1.5 to 2 seasons maybe, because he didn't play so much in the first season. But he's in a critical age also. He's 31 years old. He's becoming 32 next year. So that's why I wrote like a F 2002. It's like a Forginer 2002 type on Abdulkerim's spot, because not one who's just benching him straight away, but who can do it in the long terms. So yeah, that's what I wrote there. And again, it's all about the money. When Icardi is back, we go to 4-4-2 or 3-5-2. Yeah, I think if we're gonna play 4-4-2 also, I think Okan Hoxha is gonna play some hybrid style, like the center. That's why I think we are going for a right back who is also center back, who can cover up there when we are defending, for example, in a 5 system. So, and you see how fluid our team has become. For example, against Strasbourg, it's not. You saw we were 5 back. Our team is so good to adapt to the teams we are meeting right now. So, and Okan Hoxha said this before, the formation in itself is not the most important. It's how they are figuring out how to play when you're meeting a team that's playing with 3 behind or 5 behind in the defense. So, yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see. And I think we are going to play like a hybrid style. For example, as we played against Strasbourg, where Jakobs played as a center back-ish type with Davinson and Abdulkerim. And I think they did really well. How many chances did Strasbourg? Yes, they had the possession a lot. Strasbourg is a team that has a possession a lot. But I felt really comfortable, to be honest, especially in the second half. And in that Strasbourg game, it's just so nice to see that we are, last year, if we had met Strasbourg in the friendlies, we would probably have lost 3-0, and be like, it's panicking time again, But now it's like, yeah, we won against them too. It was a solid victory, and we're still missing Osimhen. We're still missing a goalkeeper. Gunnar did a great job. Um, um, Barish was fantastic in that game. Leroy Sané is not in format. Sanchez or Abdulkerim is not in format. So, and probably Strasbourg missed some players also. Let me see, Melly 2010. What do you think will happen if we get early exit in Champions League? Um, it all depends on how. Let's say I would not be happy at all. I don't think Okan Hoxha or the board would be happy at all either. Even if we had been, let's say, we had played like in the first year of Okan Hoxha's Champions League. Where we played against Bayern München, Manchester United, had some great games. Um, but we lost. I don't think we would like accept that either. And this Champions League is a bit this year, the new format is a bit strange because you don't meet the same type of teams. So we can be really unlucky to just, to meet PSG, Real Madrid, Juventus, all those freaking great teams. But so everything is not black and white, if we get out or if we're not getting out. It really depends on how and who we are meeting and who we are playing against. But I have really high hopes for this squad and the potential of the squad we are going to get. But again, Melly, who are we getting as a right back, for example? Let's say if we are getting a Cuesta type again. Sorry, Cuesta. It just didn't work out for us. I'm saying much about him, but or a Frankowski type. It really depends on what players do we get and the goalkeeper, for example. What do you mean, Melly, 2010, about if we are getting out of the Champions League early exit? I believe that this team with a really solid right back, center back ish, the Sasha Boy, Parvard, Singo type, and a really solid goalkeeper, I think we can go far in the Champions League, to be honest. And I think that the board and Okan Hoxha would not be happy if we don't get to the top 24, I think that's the huge goal. And other than that is probably a bonus. Of course, I dream of quarterfinals or semifinals. I know that I'm crazy to think about that, because that's not the history of our Turkish teams. We need to remember that it's how many years ago did we come to the quarterfinals in the Champions League? It rarely happened. I think was it in 2013 or 14? I don't even remember. It was against Real Madrid, I think, in the quarterfinals where we won. We won at home, but we lost away, and got eliminated. But so to just suddenly expect, quarterfinals, semifinals, probability of that is not that high, but we need to dream also. And our squad has never been stronger than it's right now. So I think maybe not the same as UEFA squad, when we won it in 2000. But we are able to dreaming. So I would be disappointed if we had been knocked out before in the league, coming in the 28th place, for example. I would not be happy with that, and Okan Hoxha and the board would not be happy with that either. So I think that top 24 and see it from there would be like the realistic goal. And top 24 is not easy either. So because it's so many strong teams in the Champions League, and we're also focusing on the league, but I still think we need a central midfielder also. Hello, Alperen Kuru. Let me see. We need Ederson. Once Icardi is playable, Buruk will have two strikers. We have enough solid midfielders to try 10 defenders. To try 3 defenders. Just my opinion. Yeah, we have a solid midfielder. As I said here, Alperen, I'm a bit unsure on Kaan, actually. I think he's just becoming slower and slower, to be honest. That's my opinion. So I don't like really trust Kaan. We also have Berkan Kutlu. I'm not really sure about that. I personally would have wanted one more, I saw it on Twitter, Baby Lemina or Baby Torreira, like maybe a young player there or something. But as you're saying, if you're playing with two strikers, we should play with a right back, for example, who can play center back type, like I said, Singo, for example. Because in the game you can play like hybrid, if you are playing with two strikers. That you have three back, like we did against Strasbourg when Jacobs went inside and played like a center back. I think Okan Hoxha is trying something in his mind, so to have like those two options, to play with two strikers. And again, we're not sure how Icardi is coming back. We need to see that also. It's a serious injury, so we're not even sure about that, and he needs time also. But if we get, I think the key role here is the right back who needs to be physical. That's why I'm so sad that we didn't get Doué last season. Not the PSG Doué, but his brother who's playing in Strasbourg. He didn't play against us, but he's that type, So let me see. Medley 2010 early exit. I think our defense will focus on criticism to the board. Okan will stop at the end of the season and move to a European team, and maybe inshallah we get Erden Timur to come back. I also miss Erden Timur, to be honest. He's done some great work for us, and he started all of this dreaming, I think, with the huge signings. But I think that yeah, I'm not sure. I don't want to think about that we're getting an early exit. I truly believe that this team can come to the top 24 and give us some extremely good memories in the Champions League. Let me see, Alper and Kuru. I agree. I personally like having right backs that can attack, but we don't have a proper starting right back, let alone a proper sub. Yeah, Icardi looks good. I heard he'll be back mid-season. Yeah, I heard something about Icardi will be back to the Champions League games. That's his goals. So it's in September, I think, or maybe in the mid-season. I don't know, Alperen. So yeah, and about the attacking right backs, I also like that, but you're seeing how much we are struggling when we have, for example, Angelino. Okan Hoxha even said it like it was the player he was most sure would be the signing that would be a really good signing. But it seems like the way we are playing, our fullbacks need to be, first of all, extremely good defensively. And I also love, for example, if we are going with two fullbacks that are attacking, I think then you need like three really solid center midfielders, I think at least. And for example, a Lemina that can turn back and play as the third center back. But Okan Hoxha has not tried that yet. So for me, I think it's more like I would probably go for a right back that is more defensively and strong and physical and fast. And then let, for example, Eren, for example, go a bit up and attack. Because Eren is running up and down all the time, but Eren is not like crazy physical either. Eren Elmalu did extremely well for us, but it's not like, the center back type. Then you have Jakobs, for example, of course. But how much can I trust Jakobs again? He's getting a lot of injuries also. But I think we should go for the right back, center back ish type. And I also love, for example, Liverpool are playing with two. They played, before with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson when they were in their best seasons. But then they had like a solid three midfielders, and they had Van Dijk and we had Davinson Sanchez, of course. But you need that. Then I think you need those central mid. Then I think you need three in the back. That's my opinion, at least. You always in football nowadays, you always see that they're playing with three in behind. So yeah, but I'm agreeing with you. I want a fullback, right back that can attack. Of course, that would also be good, you know. And I think Salah did okay there. And as you're saying, or he did good. He did really good, Salah. But I can't trust Salah for a whole season and not in the Champions League. That's my opinion. So Salah can be he's a good squad player, Salah, and he did really great in for example, against Strasbourg. And you see that out of so many right backs after Sasha Boye, it's Salah who has been the best because because he's so physical, you know. Let me see, Melly 2010. I think Icardi will blossom and play like his first season because he has solved his personal life, new wife, custody of kids, and no Wanda. Yeah, I really hope so. I really hope that he is, you know, Icardi needs to. I think his potential and career could have been so different if he had choose the right girl. Probably would not be at our club, so we can. It's in some sense luckily for us, but she's been a pain for him, I think, and it's not always one. It's always two sides of a two things of a sides, you know. But I don't know how the courting is because he's still, you know, trying to get like with this. He wants his children, I think, but I don't know how. When everything is, you know, solved, as you say, he's of course gonna just focus on his football, you know, and he deserves that, I think. And it seems like his new girlfriend, China Suarez, I think, seems like a girl that can be good for him. I think, at least. I don't know too much about that relationship, but it looks like it's great. So, and you know, football is all about they are humans, you know, in the end, and um, they need to have a good time on their homes, you know. It's so important. And as Gabriel Sara also said, it was difficult for him to focus because his girlfriend was pregnant. So those types of things we don't know about all the time. It's so important. So I hope really Cardi just can solve that problem, as you say, to just get out his potential. But again, his injury is not. It's not easy to come back from that, and not at least when you are 32 years old. But I believe in Icardi, of course. But Icardi again is the type of player. He's not that most. He's so smart, Mauri Icardi, in his playing style. So I'm not sure how much his knees are gonna be. Of course, it's gonna be difficult, but you know, he can be so smart in his movements with the ball, his movements in the box. That I'm hope I'm hopeful for that Icardi won't get too affected by the injury, to be honest, because he's so smart. It's probably a bit more different for a player who is really physical, for example, because you will probably lose a bit um, agility, sprinting. But Icardi, he has played for us, like, you know, last season, not last season, but 2 seasons ago, he played with the injury for a half of the season. So I'm not sure like how much that's gonna affect him, to be honest. But you know, he needs to solve his problems. So yeah, I agree on that. Let me see it with some questions on Reddit, because I asked who should we get Ederson or Donnarumma type. Neither of them. We will end up coming. Neither of them will come. We will probably end up with Berke or Pena. I think now at left back is pretty stacked. I say we try Berkan in goal. Guys, what about Mamar Dashvili? It's the player Liverpool got. He will be good, but I don't not sure what Liverpool is thinking about Alisson, for example. We said that earlier in the live show that Alisson would have been fantastic, because I think it's more like a mix type of Donnarumma and Ederson. Alisson is great. Ederson ayakları iyi ama Donnarumma kadar iyi bir çizgi kalecisi değil. Bize lazım olan Donnarumma. Bize hep iyi çizgi kalecilerimiz varken başarılı olduk. Tafarel, Mondragon, Muslera gibi. Yeah, I agree, Jan Peris. This is on Reddit. I would also rather go for a goalkeeper who is really solid, So, let me see, Alperen. We have a solid team, especially if we can land Ederson. Definitely group stage. Yeah, I really hope so too, that we can go to, to the top 24. But you want Ederson, Alperen? Is that the goalkeeper you want, or? And what about you, Melly? Did you say it, Melly? What type of goalkeepers do you guys want? Because it's a bit Okan Hoja said this, that I said this earlier also, that we have had our goalkeeper list, had tall, slow goalkeepers, but we didn't want them. I think Ederson is good again, but I would rather have a goalkeeper that's winning us games. The saves, the 100% saves, for example. So that's my opinion. And let me see here. Like this. Yeah, Serdar Ali Çelikler, I don't like him as a journalist, to be honest, because he's a Fenerli and he's a fanatic Fenerli, but he said the Leroy Sané transfer first, and now he's saying that Alisson left Liverpool because of personal issues, and that he's 90% to Galatasaray. I'm not sure if that's true, but yes, Ederson makes the most sense. We want someone that's quality, which is, and he has a great kick, straight passes to Ossi Sani Icardi would be amazing. Yeah, he's the greatest stopper keeper, but I think he pros out with the yeah. And Ederson, just imagine him playing it through behind the defense on Osimhen, Leroy Sané, Barış Alper, or he's just playing it, the 50-meter pass straight into Icardi's chest. It's gonna be amazing to watch. And as I said earlier, I don't think Ederson would be like, he can't be that bad as a goalkeeper who to save, But I saw him again. Did you see the Al Hilal Manchester City game? For example, if you look at the highlights there, you will be a bit scared, I think, because he did some extremely mistakes there. But Ederson is a goalkeeper who won the Champions League, and he was voted as one of the best goalkeepers or the best goalkeeper in the world at some terms. Ederson would also be amazing, as I said earlier. It's just my opinion that yeah, if it's possible, maybe get the mix of Alisson, because it's scaring me a bit that his strengths are not to stop to be the good in the air with Ederson. But yeah, he's probably an amazing goalkeeper anyway. But yeah, it says that it's 90% to Galatasaray Alisson, but that's probably some not true words. Is it some other news? Trabzonspor Başkanı Ertuğrul Doğan Kulüpler Birliği'nin yeni başkan oldu. Okay, nice that Ali Koç is not the Kulüpler Birliği Başkan, because that just is not fair at all. And I think I'm not sure how he's gonna be, Ertuğrul, but let me see. Is it some more questions there? I'm gonna see. Yeah, it seems like. Let me see if I forgot something. Yeah. I think that was it, guys. To everyone who watched, to everyone who made questions, Melly, Alperen, Baran, Blert, everyone who watched this live stream, I really appreciate it. It was so much fun, to be honest, and thank you so much. If you like this, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. It would make me so happy. Please comment if it's something. Thank you so much, Alperen. I really appreciated it. So much. I hope it was okay. So it's still very new for me, this kind of format, but I really enjoy it, to be honest. I just can't wait to make episodes because Galatasaray, it's my it's my love, and it's only 4 stars here. We need to get it to 5. I need a new cup, so our mug. So thank you so much, Alperen, and thank you everybody. Making me so glad that people are writing here. And take care, guys, and hope to see you soon.